On a distant shore, at the edge of the world, a man stares at the sea and weeps for a home he cannot reach. He has been gone 20 years, 10 fighting a war, and 10 more simply trying to get home. Every other hero has returned or died. Only he is still lost somewhere out on the water. His name is Odysseus, and his struggle to reach home became the greatest adventure ever told. A voyage of a cyclops, a sorceress, sirens, sea monsters, and a descent into the land of the dead. These days, his story is on everyone's lips again. It's worth knowing it whole, and knowing what's true in it. Because the Odyssey isn't really about monsters, it's about something we all understand, wanting to go home. This is his story. To understand it, we must go back to a legendary war, the Trojan War, which lasted 10 long years. And to the man who ended it with an idea, hide soldiers inside a giant wooden horse. That was Odysseus, the cleverest of all the Greek heroes. Not the strongest, not the fastest, the smartest. When Troy fell, every king set course for home. For Odysseus, the journey was only beginning. His home was Ithaca, a small rocky island where the 2 people he loved most were waiting. His wife, Penelope, as clever as he was, and his son Telemachus, a baby when he sailed to war. But getting back would cost him 10 more years, because, without knowing it, he had made a terrible enemy, Poseidon, god of the sea. And when the sea god hates you, the whole ocean closes against you. The voyage began with a simple fleet of ships and a crew aching to see their land again. The first stop was deceptively sweet, the land of the lotus eaters. Whoever tasted that flower lost all memory and all desire to go home. They stayed, happy and empty. Odysseus had to drag his men back to the ships by force. The first temptation, to give up. But the most famous trial came on the island of the Cyclops, giants with a single eye. Searching for supplies, Odysseus and his men entered a vast cave. It was the lair of Polyphemus, a monstrous cyclops, son of Poseidon himself. He trapped them inside, sealing the mouth with a giant stone. And he began devouring the men, one by one. Trapped, strength was useless. Only cunning could save them. Odysseus offered him wine until he was drunk. And the giant, grateful, asked him his name.
My name? My name is Nobody. That's what they all call me. Nobody.
When the Cyclops fell asleep, Odysseus and his men sharpened a great stake and put out his single eye. Polyphemus woke blind, roaring in pain. The other Cyclops came and asked who was attacking him.
Nobody is killing me.
And his neighbors, thinking him mad, walked away. At dawn, the Greeks escaped, clinging beneath the Cyclops' rams, and ran for the ships. And then Odysseus made his great mistake. Safe at sea at last, his pride got the better of him.
If anyone asks who blinded you, tell them it was Odysseus, king of Ithaca.
With that, he handed his name to his enemy, and the Cyclops raised his arms to his father, the sea god.
Father Poseidon, let that man never see home again. And if he does, let him come late, alone and broken.
It was a curse that would be fulfilled to the letter. From that moment, the sea became his enemy. Soon after, the god of the winds gave him a bag holding every storm in the world. With the winds locked away, Ithaca finally appeared on the horizon. They were almost home. But his crew, believing the bag held gold, opened it while Odysseus slept. Every storm broke loose at once and dragged the ships far, far away, back to the beginning. Then they reached the island of Circe, a beautiful, dangerous sorceress living among tame wolves and lions. With a cup and a spell, Circe turned Odysseus's men into swine and shut them in a pen. Protected by a magic herb, Odysseus overcame her and forced her to give his men back their human shape. Circe was an enemy no longer. She kept them a full year in feasting and rest. They almost forgot home. When at last they asked to leave, the sorceress revealed that to return, he must first do something terrible.
No living man goes home without crossing the land of the dead. The only voice that can guide you is there.
Odysseus sailed to the edge of the world, where the light dies, and opened a way into the land of the dead. The shades came crowding, whispering. Fallen warriors, old men, women. A grey river of souls. He was seeking one in particular, the blind seer Tiresias, the only one who could show him the way home.
You can return, Odysseus. But you will lose every man and arrive alone.
Among the shades, Odysseus also saw his own mother, dead of grief while waiting for him. 3 times he tried to hold her, and 3 times his arms closed on nothing. She was only a spirit. And he found an old comrade from Troy, Achilles, the greatest warrior, now a king among the dead. Odysseus greeted him as a hero in glory, but Achilles' answer chilled him forever.
Don't speak to me of glory. I'd rather be the lowest slave alive than king of all the dead.
It was the hardest lesson of the voyage. Glory is worth nothing against life, and life is at home. Carrying the prophecy and that truth, Odysseus rose from the dead to face the worst waters of all. The first danger sang. The sirens, creatures whose song was so beautiful it lured men to their deaths. No sailor who heard them survived. He leapt into the water, spellbound. But Odysseus wanted to hear them and live. He sealed his men's ears with wax and ordered them to bind him to the mast, whatever happened.
Bind me tight, and however much I beg or struggle, do not free me until they're behind us.
The song came, sweet and terrible, promising him all the knowledge in the world. Odysseus screamed and fought the ropes, but his men, deaf, rowed on without looking back. And so he became the only man to hear the sirens and live. Then came a narrow passage guarded by 2 horrors, one on each side. There was no avoiding both. On one side, Scylla, a 6-headed monster that plucked sailors from the decks. On the other, Charybdis, a giant whirlpool that swallowed the sea itself and could take a ship in a single gulp. Odysseus made the cruelest choice a leader can make: pass by Scylla and sacrifice 6 men to save the rest. He heard them scream his name as the monster took them. He could do nothing. He kept rowing. Exhausted, they reached an island where the sacred cattle of the sun grazed. Odysseus forbade them to touch it, but hunger won. While he slept, his men slaughtered and ate the gods' forbidden herd. The punishment was immediate and total. As they sailed, a bolt of lightning shattered the ship, and the sea took them all but one. Odysseus, clinging to a broken mast, survived alone. The prophecy was coming true. He would arrive alone. The waves carried him to a remote island, home to an immortal nymph named Calypso. Calypso fell in love with him and kept him 7 years, offering him the greatest gift of all, never to die.
Stay with me and I'll make you immortal. Why go back to a wife who will age and die, like you?
A god would have accepted. Odysseus did not. He wanted a mortal life on his island.
Your beauty will never fade. But I dream only of my land, my wife, and the smoke of my own house.
Moved at last, the gods ordered her to let him go. A people of seafarers carried him, sleeping, to his island. Meanwhile, in Ithaca, his home had been under siege for years. Not by an army, by suitors. More than 100 nobles, certain Odysseus was dead, wanted to marry Penelope and take his kingdom. They moved into his palace, devoured his food and his wine, and pressed Penelope to choose a husband. But she was as cunning as her husband. She promised to choose once she finished weaving a burial shroud. What she wove by day, she secretly unraveled by night. For years, that shroud was never finished. And his son Telemachus, now a young man, took to the sea to seek news of a father he barely remembered.
If my father lives, I will find him. And if he's dead, at least I'll finally know who I am.
Odysseus finally woke on the shore of Ithaca after 20 years, but he did not come as a triumphant king. Disguised as a ragged beggar, he walked into his own palace unrecognized by everyone but two. His old dog, Argos, who had waited 20 years. He lifted his head, knew his master, and died in peace. And his aged nurse, who washing his feet, recognized an old scar. Odysseus begged her to keep silent. He revealed himself in secret to Telemachus. Father and son, together as men for the first time, plotted their revenge. Then Penelope announced a test. She would marry the man who could string Odysseus's great bow and make the shot. One after another, the suitors tried. Not one could even bend it. Then the beggar stepped forward. He took the bow, strung it effortlessly, and shot true. He tore off his rags. The beggar was the king. In the reckoning that followed, Odysseus and Telemachus drove from their home the men who had taken it. But the hardest test remained: Penelope. After 20 years, she would not simply believe a stranger.
I'll have my bed carried out of the chamber for our guest.
Impossible. I carved that bed myself from a living olive tree. No one can move it.
Only the true Odysseus could know that. Penelope, at last, held him. The voyage was over. He was home.